All right, one more, election 2023. And listen, I don't need a sign, I don't need to see him. All I need to do is this when I go to the voting booth. He is a guy that really does such a great job. And I've been around many of these great sheriffs, going back to Frank Policaro, and I've never seen anybody work as hard. Let's talk about law enforcement, the sheriff's department, and why it is the most intricate, I believe, law enforcement in any county, but especially here in Beaver County. Talk about the people that work with you and what you do.
Yeah, so I've been the sheriff now for 8 years, just about 8 years, and I came into a department that, in my opinion, needed some modernization. So we worked on that a lot. But the nuts and bolts, the bread and butter of our operation is our people. So we've been hiring great people. Our staff, our deputies, are probably half. No, I'll put it this way, maybe about a third people that have been here in the sheriff's office for a long time.
Right.
About a third of people that we hire are people that are brand new to law enforcement. And then we got about a third of our deputies are people who had a career in law enforcement and are looking for a job after retirement and coming here and do it. And those people are fantastic because I don't have to worry about them. They know their job, they know what they need to do, they know how to talk to people, and they're great representatives of the sheriff's office in Beaver County, frankly.
Well, you've got Mr. Radadovich down there doing some stuff with you. He, like you, members of the state police for a very long time. Every single layer, whether it's the state police, the sheriff's department, this whole new Beaver Valley regional thing that I'm really all in on, Baden, Conway, and Freedom. I just think law enforcement, with the mergers and everything that's happening, as much negative, sadly, as some people think when it comes to law enforcement, I think we've got some really strong things happening in your field.
Well, I think, first of all, I have to say this. I think Mr. Radadovich, as you call him, would be very upset if he heard you calling him Mr. Radadovich. You know who that is, right?
It's Rat.
It's Rat, and only call him Rat. But regionalization is, I think, the thing of the future. The cost for municipalities to have their own police department is, in some municipalities, probably as much as 50% of their overall budget. And when you were able to combine municipal police departments on the level of 3, 4, 5 departments, you are sharing some of those costs and spreading them across several municipalities. You end up with better officers, better paid officers, better equipment, better training, and it serves the people better. So I think it's a super positive thing.
And this is why business matters and why I'm always talking about business, whether the new steel plant being built, 72 Steel down there in Aliquippa, Royal Dutch Shell, tax base, more money, and you can get these officers, these men and women paid. That is crucial.
It's crucial, especially now, because over the last few years, many young people who otherwise would have followed their calling towards a career in law enforcement have been pushed away from that now. And the numbers of people looking to that as a career is dwindling drastically. And it's a battle that we're fighting now, and I'm going to have a conversation with the commissioners about ways to keep the good people that we have, but also to attract more good people. It's a sad situation, and once again, the people who feel the brunt of that are the citizens, are the people.
Here's what worries me, and we talked about this with Tony Amadeo. Of course, he was a teacher at one time. Teaching numbers are down too. So
Yeah.
give me some of your thoughts. When I was a young person many years ago, you have career days, the local chief, Dockley Township where I lived, they would come in and speak to us at the elementary school.
Yeah.
You took such pride in law enforcement. How do we get young people engaged to at least consider a career in law enforcement? Because hey, we all get older, we all retire, and you got to have someone to step in.
So you got to engage them early, because these thoughts, in my opinion and from my experience, these thoughts start to develop in young people maybe as early as the junior high age, where they see role models out there and they say, hey, my neighbor across the street. I grew up on a street where there were 3 police officers all around my house, and so those were my role models. And so you've got to put those role models in the schools and counteract the negative publicity that law enforcement gets in the mainstream media, and sometimes even when these kids go home, because they hear their parents talking about law enforcement, and they're just reiterating what they see on TV, and it kind of stifles these young people who say, this is what I'm called to do, and it makes them rethink that really is an inner calling. It makes them rethink that and maybe take another direction in their life. So we gotta get into the schools earlier and talk to these kids. And there's some of that stuff going on here around the county.
All right, before I leave Tony Guy, in this segment of election 2023, so what's next? What do you really want to accomplish moving forward?
So the biggest thing for my office is we are about halfway to 2/3 of the way to accreditation. So we got a grant last year to cover the costs of all of the things that need to be done to get accredited, which means basically that an outside agency comes in, they review everything that you've done, they look for what they call proofs that you are following the law, following best practices, and then you get evaluated by them. There's only one other police agency in Beaver County that is accredited right now. We are seeking that right now. Hopewell Township, I believe, is seeking that right now, maybe Ambridge, but right now there's only one, and it's New Swickley. We want to be the second to get on board with that, and it's really really just a kind of a feather in your cap to be able to look around at people and say, hey, we've been judged to be operating the way we should be operating, the way a professional law enforcement agency should.
You still enjoy what you do, don't you?
What do you think?
I tell you, I can see it. I can see it. Thanks for having me today. Okay.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Always,
and
always.
and I'll pass along my best to Mr. Radadovich, as you call him.
Yeah, his chief deputy, Paul Radadovich, the Pride of New Brighton. All right. Have a great day. Don't forget, back on the radio tonight, right after the quest for the best. 2 hours of all sorts of stuff to talk about, and hope you'll tune into KDKA 100.1 FM AM 1020. Good afternoon.